Badass Woman, Muay Thai, and Found Family. This is 8 Limbs, published by Humanoids Comics, written by Stephanie Phillips, and illustrated by Julia Lawley, and it was freaking awesome. I had the honor to talk to Stephanie Phillips about 8 Limbs, so yeah, let's get into it. This story follows Joanna, a Muay Thai fighter, and in a devastating last fight, she lost her championship title. She now has a family, her own gym, and teaches a sport. Her friend then asks her for a favor. Can she temporarily foster Mari for a few days, a troubled teen who keeps getting kicked out of school for fighting? These two have a lot in common, including their natural inclination to fight, but this could also pull them apart with disastrous results. This is about found family and the difference between fighting and violence. So Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit about your background in Muay Thai and what inspired you to take this passion and use it to write this comic book?
Yeah, I grew up playing sports. I love sports, and in college, because I played ice hockey, and there wasn't a dedicated women's team when I went to college, so I could practice with the men's team, but I couldn't skate out for games. And it was just kind of like, well, I feel like I'm not done being super competitive, which I guess I'm just very competitive, and I wanted something else, and I have no idea what spurred a transition to martial arts, but I just kind of started walking into gyms. I was like, maybe this will be my thing. I don't know. And people didn't really take me seriously when I would show up for like an intro class and be like, oh, I'm gonna fight. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, sure. Until one gym I walked into called Freestyle Muay Thai, which is the same name of the gym in the book. I I happened to say like, yeah, I want to be a fighter, and like I hadn't even thrown a single punch, and the owner of this gym just took me seriously and talked to me about what that would look like, what it would mean. And I think we talked for like an hour, and it just felt like, okay, I could work with this person. And he actually, like, without me doing a single thing, has taken this seriously. Like, I could just never show up again. And he has spent this time, like, talking to me about what Muay Thai means to him, what it means to the community he's building here. And I really liked everything he was saying. And if I wasn't already willing to invest in a new sport I was right then. I was like, I'm in, I'm signing up, I'm in, I'm showing up every single day, which from that day on I did.
What inspired you to choose these characters and this setting to write a Muay Thai comic book?
So I would say Joanna is probably mostly based on where I'm at currently with Muay Thai and sports, like kind of aging out of being able to actually step in the ring, like too many injuries, and just it's a full-time job to actually be able to keep your body in shape to go get into the ring. And obviously now I have a different job, so I can't do that all the time. And it's kind of a big transition to take something that it was like kind of your full identity and transition away from it and give it a different role in your life. And I still don't know that I've very successfully done that, but I'm in that stage where it's like something that means the world to me still, but it's not something that I do every day. I'm not stepping in the ring to fight anymore. And so what does that mean for me and my relationship to sports and my body, and that kind of physicality? And those are questions that I struggle with, and Joanna is struggling with, even to another degree, because she's just had a child, which adds another layer, I think, of complication to how you see your body. And Mari is kind of the flip side of that, somebody that's new, and they both really need one another. And I think there's something that's very in sync about Joanna trying to find what her place is in the sport and finding that place through Mari. And Mari is also trying to find a place in general and finds it in this gym and with this family. Yeah, she's and I think also just like kind of going out, being a very competitive person and going out on a loss that you just can't stop thinking about. Like, I get that, like being a perfectionist and also being competitive. That's, those kinds of things become for Joanna very representative of her trying to transition into this new role of mentor, of coach, and kind of figuring out what that means for her.
I'm familiar with some of your other works, Scrim and Harley Quinn, and knowing that you have a background in fighting just shows that you know how to write badass characters, like straight up.
It is fun to write fight scenes. I like to choreograph fight scenes a lot. And I also like that every character can kind of have their own fighting style. Like Wonder Woman, obviously being very trained warrior, is much more structured. And then Harley, you kind of just like, all right, I wrote a scene where she's strangling a psychiatric orderly with a feather boa. So it's like very representative of who they are. And maybe to a slightly lesser degree, but I think that that's there with Mari and Joanna as well. Mari is very offensive, and yes, she's less trained than Joanna, but Joanna is somebody that wants to kind of sit back and play a defensive game. And being in the gym, sparring with tons of different people, being in the ring with different fighters, you kind of learn that there's I think there's something about how you fight that's also just tied to who you are. Like if you're going to go out there, just like, the bell rings and you're just throwing punches and going wild. Like I've absolutely seen that from people. And I think, I think it says something about like your mentality and who you are when you step in the ring. There's an absolute vulnerability that shows. So
that is so freaking cool. It shows how important it is to have these drastically different characters have their own individualistic fighting styles. It just further brings them to life. All right, let me ask you this. What is one of the worst injuries that you've ever gotten while fighting?
In my very first fight, I threw a kick, and I think that she blocked in a weird way with like her knee. So I caught it weird on my ankle, and it was round one. And I didn't realize that it was fractured because there's so much adrenaline. I finished the fight. I won the fight. And then I got out of the ring, and I think like as adrenaline starts to wear off, like I took a step and I was like, oh, that's incorrect. It should not be like that. So yes, I think I tried to just like go home and go to sleep. And then I was like, I am in so much pain, I can't sleep. So I called my dad to drive me to the ER, and I was still wearing like a medal around my neck. It was like the most
God
ever been. So I'm in the ER, and they're like, how did this happen? And I'm just like, I was in a fight. And my dad was like, a sanctioned fight with a referee. This is not like a bar fight. This was not a brawl. And I'm like, yep, I got a medal. And he's like, just put that down, please. Like you have to go get an x-ray. I think that was maybe the worst. Yeah, it's a pretty dangerous sport, and I don't regret it, but it has absolutely had an impact on how my body is now.
What was like merging these two identities, being a comic book writer, being a Muay Thai fighter, and just putting them together?
I think that was really cool. Like it was, I think at first I was kind of nervous because it was like, I love Muay Thai. I like the idea of doing a comic book, but I think at first it was like, is this the story? Am I later in life going to have a better Muay Thai story or something like that? And it was like, no, this is how I feel about Muay Thai, especially in this moment. And if I kind of feel that way and think that way now, I should probably capitalize on being able to put that into the characters of Joanna and Mari Wall. That's something that's on my mind. I was really glad that Humanoids was super game to make this comic book. I think sports comics can be a little tough. I think manga does a really nice job with them. Obviously, there's tons of movies and things like that, but it's a little less common in a comic. I'm really glad that they let us tell the story, and Julia did an amazing job with the visuals in this too, which were very important, I think, and she nailed it.
The visuals are absolutely stunning, but the words and the visuals go together perfectly. It is seamless. I love that.
What is something that you would like women and non-binary people to know about getting into Muay Thai for the first time?
I think that it looks scary. I think that there are a lot of misconceptions about the martial arts community, and those come from real places. Like there is hyper-aggression that exists. I've taught a lot of beginner classes, and I've seen those people come through the door that are like, cool, I get to punch somebody. And it's like, there is so much more than that, and there are so many more people. The sport is actually incredibly diverse and becoming increasingly more so as well. I think some of the first openly gay athletes were women MMA fighters that used to be a part of the Muay Thai scene, and getting to kind of see them progress or go on to be UFC fighters is really cool. Some of them are now, like Shayna Baszler, who I've talked to a few times, is in WWE, but she used to be in the UFC. So kind of seeing the progression of these careers for women, and also seeing, I think, the fan base catch up and become more open to the diversity of the athletes is it's really cool to see. Like I'm really excited about that. I remember going to some of the first like MMA events and feeling like, I can't believe the crowd is like yelling this at a woman fighter or something, to now where I think there are even like, I know WWE is more scripted, but there are storylines that involve openly gay both characters and wrestlers. And I think that's really cool to kind of see that. And the community is so much more than those people that I think we maybe judge martial arts by. They do exist, but there are also lots of really wonderful people in that community.
I love hearing the passion and you talking about Muay Thai and breaking down these stereotypes. It shows in the forward, it shows in Joanna, especially Joanna explaining to Mari, like, it's not about the violence. I absolutely, I love that. It just, maybe I'll pick up Muay Thai now. You've inspired me.
Give it a shot. Yes. It's great. Yeah. I mean, I used to teach self-defense classes, anything I could do to try to get other people into the gym. And really, I've seen that take off. Like I'm not at the gym freestyle anymore, but you know, I see that they have more women on the fight team. Like I was the first and the only for a long time, and now it's like it's really cool to see that there are multiple women there fighting and doing really well. And it's like it's freaking awesome. Like I like seeing it grow. The space of Muay Thai or martial arts in general, like I said, is more accepting than I think some of the misconceptions about it. And part of the intent in this story was to showcase that side of it, to showcase the ideas of found family. And yeah, the sport is still growing. We see that in the story as well. But through that, I think that there's acceptance that the characters find in one another and in the communities that they're helping to shape. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about how that turned out.
Okay, you're stuck in an elevator with someone and you have to convince them to read this book in like a couple sentences. What is your elevator pitch for this comic?
Badass women learning Muay Thai, which is a badass sport, and also learning about community, learning about one another, and learning the differences between fighting and violence.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today. It means a lot. The passion in your voice is so inspiring. And oh my God, yes, everybody watching this, please check out 8 Limbs from Humanoids.